Hi guys and gals and kittens, and welcome to the Ioneer Magic Show. So in this video I'm going to show you how you can basically use magic and effectively turn C# into more or less an interpreted scripting language. That's not a joke in case you believe so. Obviously it is IL code that is actually compiled. However, we have the ability to dynamically compile C# code and creating assemblies either in memory or on disk using Hyperlambda starting from this release. Notice I want to emphasize this feature is only available for enterprise clients. If you're not one of those, then you can download the open source code to play around with it. Now I'm going to go into HyperID. I'm going to expand the etc. folder, and as you can see here, there's a new folder called C#. If you read its README file, you can see what it's for. And as you can see, it is for dynamic C# code snippets. So let me create a new C# code snippet by using the slot.cs templates. And if I now click Option M, I'm maximizing the window. On Windows, it's Alt M. Let me just simplify it a little bit first, remove some of the parts we don't need really. As you can see here in the comment, I'm explaining why we actually have to use the service locator pattern. Yes, I know it's a drag, but unfortunately for dynamically created assemblies, there's absolutely no way of wiring up dependency injection and the IOC container to correctly resolve to that particular class. So anyways, that's it. Let me see. Contracts, extensions, node contracts, I don't need. So now let's do something smart. As you can see here, the slot's name is foo, the class name is foo. It's implementing iSlot, having one public method called signal, which obviously is the interaction between Hyperlambda and C#. So now let's write input.value, whoops, equal $, two double quotes, semicolon, hello, input.getEx string, comma, nice to meet you. Alt-M, demaximize, Alt-S, save the file. Now I have a file inside of etc. C# called slot.cs. If I open up manage Hyperlambda playground, one of the examples we happen to have here, you can filter on compile to find it, system.compile, just so happens to be assuming that that particular file actually exists. And as you can see, it does exist. So what this bugger does, it basically loads the file, then compiles it, passing in these references. This is the reference to the code, being of course the string value returned from i.file.load, and it's giving the assembly a name, being foo.dll. And then it's actually dynamically loading up this plugin. Then it's invoking dynamically created C# slot, passing in an expression, being a reference to John Doe. Let me change it to Thomas Hansen. And then it's unloading to clean up after itself. So after I'm done executing this code, the C# assembly will no longer exist. If I now click Option M to demaximize, I click F5, ta-da! Hello, Thomas Hansen, nice to meet you. So as you can see now, obviously I was capable of actually, I hate that feature with Mac, dynamically load C# code, create an assembly out of the code, and actually execute slots in it. And at this point, I can even go back to, however, before I do, let me load the file, and then let me compile it, and then let me just, instead of executing it, io.file.save.binary, :x, minus, actually it's not, etc. foo.dll, get value, :x, system.compile, save. Actually, I don't need to save it, I just need to execute it. Then I need to go back to HyperID and expand my etc. folder, at which point you will see I now have a DLL. So I've now dynamically on the fly through my browser actually created C# code, compiled that C# code, and I've created the DLL encapsulating this particular code. So now what I can do, I can go back to manage, I can find Hyperlambda playground, I can do system, plug in load, : etc. foo.dll. Execute it. And I've now actually changed my app domain and my ILCLR runtime, adding one C# slot that is there permanently until my runtime restarts for some reason. And you can actually verify that by writing F hold down function control space on a Mac or control space on window, 00, at which point you see I now have a slot. Thomas Hansen, F5, ta-da! Hello, Thomas Hansen, nice to meet you. Now, if I now want to dynamically reload this file upon every single restart of my server, what I basically got to do, I got to go to create, I got to go to HyperID, got to create my own module or use an existing module inside of the modules folder. I'm just going to create a new folder here called foo. Actually, I have one called foo, so let me create one called bar. And then let me select bar here and let me create a new folder called magic.startup. Why? Because it just so happens to be that every single Hyperlambda file inside of this folder will automatically execute every single time my server restarts for some reasons, which is kind of a big deal because if I'm assuming that the foo folder exists within my code and we have to upgrade your cloudlet for whatever reasons because we've created a new version or something, then all of a sudden your foo slot's no longer going to be available unless you explicitly actually reload it. So that's what we're going to do here now, reload.hl. And now I can do system, plugin load, etc. foo.dll, save, and I can even execute the file immediately, at which point you will see file executed successfully. So now I've permanently changed my cloudlet, adding one dynamic C# file. Here is its content, as you can see, and extended magic with C#. Now, of course, I can go to create. I'm already at HyperID, so let me create a new endpoint inside a bar here. foo.get.hl. Then let me do foo x:@.arguments name. Let me create an arguments collection. Type string, and then let me do return. Greeting, do strings.concat. Hello, get value, x: foo. It's nice to meet you. This is going to probably produce a bogus string. It doesn't matter because you got the hello inside of the foo slot too, right? Strings.concat and wrap x: plus / save, execute, pass in arguments name string foo. Hello, unwrap. Let me try it in endpoints, open in a different browser window. And then let me filter on the bar module. Name, Thomas Hansen, and it's going to look funny now because it says like nice to meet you twice or something, but it doesn't matter. The point is, I dynamically on the run created a new C# piece of code, compiled it down to an assembly, loaded it, and actually invoked it over an HTTP endpoint. And now, of course, you can do the same thing with manage. You can do tasks. You can now create scheduled tasks referencing your C# code. Anyways, that was it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.